already. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Texas State Technical College Board of Regents on Thursday, August 28th at 10:53 a.m. Jonathan, would you like to lead us in the invocation?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, you are faithful, you are gracious, you are the giver of every good and perfect gift. We are grateful to you for the prosperity we enjoy and for the prosperity we are able to lead others into. God, thank you for those who have gone before us, who blazed trails and modeled service, excellence, and integrity. They have shown us that while success is never easy, it can be simple and accessible. Your word reminds us that good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, and that hard work, even grit, brings a profit. So now, as this group of leaders gather, we pause to reflect on the fruits of our labor and the milestones that carry us forward into an exciting future. And we thank you for blessing this institution, for blessing our plans, and for blessing our work. And we're mindful that with blessing and prosperity come responsibility and scrutiny. Grant us wisdom, prudence, and integrity as we discern our course. We ask for continued favor as our trajectory is shaped this fall by the trust and support of the taxpayers we ultimately serve. We ask this in your name, for your glory, in honor of your purposes and according to your will. Amen.
Amen. Great job. Thank you, John. So now we'd like to determine a quorum. I'll call your name and request that you indicate your presence. Tiffany Tremont.
Present.
Rob Measley. Present. Keith Hunt.
Present.
Curtis Cleveland.
Present.
Lizzie Putnick.
Present.
Twice. Ron Warbacher.
Present.
Eric Beckman.
Present.
And Kathy. There you are on the big screen. All right, very good. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. And myself, Ron Whittam. We do have a quorum. All right, I'd like to talk about the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you, and you also have a couple of additions to the agenda, a couple of sheets to insert. So does everybody have those? And there's a minute order or two that we're going to add in there. So we've added that to the agenda. Is there any discussion on any of that? Good. All those in favor of adoption of this agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you. Next, we'll consider the minutes of the May 2025 board meeting. Now, you have those minutes in your board materials. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Move to be approved as presented.
Motion by Curtis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Tiffany? Yeah, Tiffany. And a third by Rob. Tiffany seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next is public comments. We've reached the public comment section of our meeting. Procedures for public comments at TSTC board meetings are covered by Texas statute and the bylaws of the Board of Regents of TSTC. These laws allow for comments from the public on any item contained on the publicly posted agenda before this item is considered by this governing body. This will be the only time during this meeting that's set aside for public comment. Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act restricts the TSTC Board of Regents dialogue in response to public comments. Are there any public comments? Hearing none, the public comments period is concluded. Next on the agenda, we have the Chancellor's comments.
All right. But before I get started, I'd like, if I could, and I hope I'm not stealing any thunder, on behalf of the foundation, I'd like to point out that they have provided you some takeaways, if you would. This it looks like a really wonderful etched phone charger, you know, one of the pad style that can sit on your desk and hold your phone. I'd like to also point out the Workforce Realigned, Volume 2. 4 years ago, give or take, the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta reached out to us and said, we couldn't help but notice you guys, and we're gonna publish a book on workforce. And we wonder if you would work with our partner, a Social Finance Foundation, and consider writing a chapter for the book. And Bettersworth and I, Michael, said, you bet, we'd be glad to. And so we co-wrote a chapter for that thing. Michael graciously gave me authorship on the thing, but he did most of the work, I'll admit right there. And so we appeared in that book, and that book led to a whole bunch of national acclaim. People began to spot us, policy people in DC and so forth. That led to more national exposure through various think tanks and foundations. Well, the Federal Reserve Bank recently was joined by these other Federal Reserve banks in this effort of highlighting the necessary future for workforce and the economy in general. And so we got invited to do version 2 of that chapter. And Michael wrote it, if you look back about 180 something, you'll find the chapter on Tuesday, 187. And you'll see where we describe our journey. And I suspect, given that volume 2 is now out, that we'll see another kind of rally in terms of folks, you know, interested in learning more about how we do business. Indeed, Michael was in DC just last month, maybe, in a situation in which we've been invited to talk about what it is that we do. So I just wanted to give accolades to Michael and thank him for doing such a good job putting us here in this chapter, and also expose then you to the notion that as a thought leader in this space, your college is someone who continues to ascend. So I thought you might like to see this and take it on. Put this on your coffee table and then repeat that story whenever someone asks.
That's awesome. That's TSTC's value-added model, a bold new approach. That's awesome. Great.
Yes. Can't wait till it be old. Okay. Now I'll move on to our comments if we could. Go ahead. All right. So before I go there, there's one more thing. When people ask me about what makes TSTC special, I have a million answers. But one of them can be distilled in this distinction. While most colleges revel in the notion of scholarship, we do that, all colleges should, but we also revel in another virtue, and that is craftsmanship. That is a huge differentiator. We create craftsmen who apply technical knowledge to solve problems. And so yesterday I got exposed to an example of craftsmanship that I couldn't help but show you. Look at this. Here, pass that around. This is a handmade object made out of various hardwoods. And the fit and finish of it are truly extraordinary. I mean, if you know the slightest about woodworking, this is a museum piece. This was presented to the college yesterday by your colleague, Ron Rohrbacher, who made it in his workshop and then brought it here to the college and presented it to us yesterday. And it will now sit in a place of honor as an exemplar of that notion of craftsmanship. And so I thought y'all would love to see it.
Now I know where I get my Christmas gifts.
His rates are very high.
Incredible.
And it is a box. The lid will lift off, you know. So, see?
Wow.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The second he handed it to me, I began to deconstruct the order of assembly and the various steps he had to go through to create that.
That was beautiful.
That is a marvelous device. Okay, if I could. So yesterday during the working group, during both working groups, we did a whole lot of discussion about kind of what's we're focused on right now. And I thought in my comments I'd put kind of a wrapper on it. And I wanted to do it for your benefit, but also for everybody else's, because all those people back there and the folks watching us or listening to us are those who achieve here at TSTC. So if you look at the last 15 years at TSTC, we have been in a chapter, a period, if you will, that could be described as geographic expansion and operational efficiencies. The merger that we did back in 15, the new focus on culture and how it impacts production, if you will, are just two examples. The Sarbanes-Oxley and making sure that we have affirmation of our quality. All of these are symptoms of that operational efficiency, while the legislature was geographically expanding our footprint because of the need in Texas. Think about how we went from one school on I-35 to four, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, up and down I-35. We went from having a small presence in the Texas Triangle to having an expanded presence in the Texas Triangle. So that epoch has been our history right now. But with that, I wanted to share with y'all that it is time now for us to turn the page to the next epoch, if you will. We are going now to that chapter in TSTC's development in which we are going from rapid growth geographically to rapid growth in our maturity across the state. We have campuses today that have one building, and they exist in a region where 5 or 6 buildings could easily be filled with students who are grossly needed in the workforce. And so we are, and as we discussed yesterday, should the voters approve Prop 1 in November, we now have a new flow of capital coming our way that was designed to do just that, blow open the amount of space we have in order to serve more Texans. What the next 10 years will be, therefore, is one in which we are maturing what we have. We are expanding that out and growing it. And what we're doing is, let's see here. Adam. Oh, of course.
There you go.
It queued up. Okay, we'll do it again. So this next decade will be grow what we've got. What'll drive this is will mature our regional focus. Each of these locations is an opportunity to serve Texas in a greater way, but it exists in a unique region. The region around Midlothian and Red Oak is wholly different than the region up in Denton County. And that couldn't be more different than Seguin, New Braunfels. And different yet again from Fort Bend. And so this new chapter will begin with a visioning of what the regions need from us across the state. Step one, Jonathan is leading the effort you heard about yesterday regarding campus visioning. That was a code for, we're going to imagine what it is Texas needs from us in those regions, and then we're going to apply this new focus and this new capacities in the form of funding to attack those needs. And it'll be region by region by region. Those different regions are sure to demand from us a different response. We'll know how to do a TSTC well, but that's not the same as building an identical TSTC everywhere we go. But that's what we'll do during the next 10 years. And as we do that, it's going to require some other stuff from us. Number three, we've got to continue to expand our product lines. Now, we have product lines today that are pretty obvious. Jonathan is the primary leader over our classic college, and it far and away is the biggest part of our business. I mean, it earns us all that most of that formula funding and that sort of stuff. And it's who everyone has known us for years and years. But if you're an industrial employer with an acute workforce need, you also understand about our product line that has to do with accelerated training, acute, tactical, responsive spot training that is required by an employer on a near-term basis. We need this right away. In that area, Cledia is leading that rapid, responsive training effort. That's an example of a product line that has tremendous growth potential. The new expanded Pell funding that is coming out of Washington, D.C. now pays for short-term training in a way it never did before. And thanks to the fact that we have extreme sophisticated know-how in this region, this is a market that we're going to attack aggressively. So, as we are being regional and responsive, Cledia's product line in that area will be in something that is going to get a lot of our focus to expand out there. Our goal is to have a market share that the others chase. We believe we can be the market leader there. And there are other things. Our foundation, we're very close to hiring a new CEO for our foundation. We have whole new aspirations now. 10 years ago, when we got that $40 million gift to start the Fort Bend campus, we thought we'd died and gone to heaven. We just couldn't believe it. But in the time since, we've gotten other multi-million dollar gifts. Multi-million dollar gifts should now be our routine. Our foundation has gone from virtually zero, where y'all had to write a check to pay for the audit, to the point that they could commit $3 million to us, or $2 million to us for a campaign. That's just the beginning. In this next decade, we intend for it to get bigger still. Dual credit is another example. Our online college is showing signs of literally exploding. There are product lines that you will see us continue to mature over the decade ahead. And in each case, it'll be driven by market responsiveness. If you ask the typical college leader, what does it mean to be responsive to the market? Here's the answer you'll get. Well, we have a lot of students who sign up. That is an input. That is a notion that belongs on the trash heap of antiquity. That was made for a last century. The answer to that question now should be, we create productive citizens who contribute to the economic prosperity of the state's economy, and therefore earn a wonderful living for their family and those that they take care of. That should be the answer. And the way that you address that question is by being responsive to the job market. Every one of these products that these two leaders right here take us into the next century on is going to be responsive to that prosperity goal for the state of Texas. And prosperity not for one stakeholder, all the stakeholders. When we do that mission, we win, the student wins, the industry wins, the state wins, and the taxpayers who pay our bills. Everybody prospers. But this next decade will have to be punctuated by an unwavering focus on it's time to mature what we have, in a manner that's not growth for growth's sake, in a manner that is responsive to the needs of Texans, and particularly Texas employers. So this is, let's call it the call to arms. This is the turning of the page. This is the meeting where we are saying it is the next version of TSTC that 2025 will begin. And if we will do all this, and I assure you, y'all will get tired of hearing me talk about it, as we do all of this, we'll ascend further still toward that ultimate position that Texas needs us to be. And that is the Technical College of Texas. That's what we'll be. So with that, any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Yesterday at the graduation, we sat through and watched a lot of those students graduate, and there was one girl that said that she wanted to start her own bakery. And it resonated, and we've talked about it before, and Jonathan, I'm going to put you to work here, but I think TSTC has done a great job of producing technically good individuals, but I think we also need to focus on, we like those to be technically sound, but we would also like them to have their own businesses at some point in time. And I think as we do that, and for the state of Texas, then we increase the amount of people that are going to be employed, because then one of those folks can start his own company. And I think that it's been left out. I would love to see it in the curriculum in the high schools, but there needs to be, in my opinion, there needs to be some sort of entrepreneurship, so that when these students do graduate and they do ascend, and you get somebody like Ron Widdop, which we stood up there and listened to him and how he ascended, and he owns his own company, it could have been very easy for him to say, that's too complicated, there's all sorts of things, and I've got to fill out forms and taxes and this. I think we would be doing the folks a good service if we said, hey, here's the next thing, your next step. We've trained you to be technically savvy, but let's also give you the opportunity, if you'd like, to increase this and build on it and start your own
Pass
business.
this to Ron and tell him thank you for his question.
So we totally would have bribed you to ask that question. I'm absolutely fired up about this one because I totally agree. I think we create more entrepreneurs than any higher ed institution in Texas, period. And so I think there's a tremendous opportunity to develop entrepreneurial acumen across the board with these students. And but I like what you talked about. You talked about forms and taxes and, we're about applied learning. And I think we have a lane in really applied learning for entrepreneurship. Like, what are the entrepreneurial skills for the technician, right? And doing a 941 and managing cash flow and all of those things. So, boy, we're already starting to gin that up. So more to come on that. I totally agree.
Good.
Yeah. And I will confirm, the reason why I motioned to him and said, are you ready for this? Is because we've already had a conversation just like this. I mean, we were sitting talking about our future, and Jonathan's the one who said entrepreneurship is definitely an area we have to focus on. So, great minds.
Is there space within the career services, and I don't know if it's currently being done, where graduates, like an alumni network where graduates can come back and maybe they've reached that level where their technical expertise at a certain level and they're thinking next step? Is there an area in career services that can help guide or mentor them to take that next entrepreneurial step?
I swear this isn't a setup.
You got your $10?
So we actually, internal relations, have a task force to being able to build out a strategic plan for how we're engaging the alumni, to be able to make sure that we're providing that mentorship approach as well to some of our students. And so we are revamping of how we integrate our career services throughout the operations. And so being able to build all of this, if y'all recall during my remarks yesterday or during my comments yesterday, I talked about a continuum. Right? It's not just getting them in the door, getting them that first job. It's truly, we're moving to becoming the get a career college, right? And being able to be alongside them. So as they're going through that journey, being able to go back and follow up with the entrepreneurship, being able to be able to give them that access to be a connector also, and being able to be that network for them with small business association and so on and so forth, so they can be able to continue to grow within their career. So all of those opportunities are being already incorporated into some of our strategic plans.
Yeah, A&M is a cult. Why can't we have TSTC cult? And all these graduates help each other. I mean, come on, they've done it, we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give him his money back.
Chancellor, what struck me yesterday, the graduation was fantastic, because it was, and you told me before, you said this won't be like any graduation you've seen, and it wasn't. It was fun, it was energetic, it was engaging, and so you guys do a great job on that whole process, so kudos to everybody for that. And it was really cool to see the excitement and all the graduates and their families and all that, so I think that just that setup and that format does a great job of doing that. So, and it leads to what we're talking about. We talked about before is there's really an untapped network of positivity. Is staying connected to that alumni group. We're doing that better now because we got to keep up with them anyways for the funding. But man, have those folks be part of the TSTC cult, and we can do a lot of good things with it. I commend everybody for that, and I really love the regional focus for statewide benefit that we're talking about doing here, building out our campuses for what they need. Because last night we had the industry partners there, and then I think you could probably do this at every graduation when you hear some of the companies, large quantities of graduates, and so there's obviously a need for, you see those companies are hiring all those graduates, and it's probably different companies in different regions, and so we get involved in their industries and we build out their needs, and man, the sky's the limit, right?
Thank you.
Very good job, so I was very impressed.
In case it was lost on folks, one feature of that graduation is, have you ever seen a college put employers on the stage? Never seen that happen. And to your point, we should be getting a big fat check from Encore to get more of these. They clearly had a leading position there among the talent pipeline. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 30.
30, is that how many? Were you?
I figured what he said when he shook their hands, congratulations, don't be late.
Yeah.
In your remarks, Mike, you talked about maturing out. Does that include the Denton site as well? Are you including that, or is that yet to be?
We're in an ongoing dialogue with various community leaders in the Denton County area. Our goal is to see if we can replicate what's happened in other markets where the local communities come to the table with some skin in the game, either in some kind of underwriting like they did, well, I won't name names, but underwriting like they did in some cases, outright gift of land, and others. We can either go fast or we can pace it correctly and build a collaboration in which other folks are investing in that infrastructure too. Our time frame is, we need to try to make some progress happen on that, say in the next 6 months or so that as we start planning the first tranche of endowment funding, it's informed by all of the regional possibilities and not just some. Indeed, when it comes to that funding, what we showed the legislature 3 years ago when we first talked about the endowment was a $2 to $3 billion capital plan for the various locations across the state. And that spend is what got distilled down into the endowment. Well, the endowment will be $52 million a year, which is not going to build $2 billion worth of buildings at one time. So our leadership challenge will be first identifying the various regional opportunities that we have, and then sequencing among those very worthy options, what goes first, what goes next, what goes after that. And at the same time, balancing the fact that in some cases we can bond some of that money and front spend, or in other cases we may want to just build as we get the cash. And we'll answer those questions between now and next year's budget session and show you, here's the sequencing and everything that we have, all informed by the regional responsiveness to industry and prosperity in Texas. That's what we'll have. It is the hardest part of the leadership job at TSTC, is to be confronted with all these worthy options, each one of them you wish you could do right now, and you can't. We'll have to pick and sequence them out. So I hope I answered your question there with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mike, you've already got a blue chip example of responsiveness with graphic packaging.
Oh, no kidding.
They were on the stage last night. They invested $1.5 billion in their plant. They're going to open that plant 6 months early because TSTC did all the training at the work site.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already doing it.
Thank you, Curtis. No, I really appreciate that.
More money.
That's really a good point. Yeah. When Chris Collins, who is the economic development boss for this region, was in the final stages of recruiting graphics packaging, you were there, saw the whole thing. She invited TSTC to the table when their CEO, their plant manager, their head of HR, their various folks came in, and it was kind of the final looking, you know, trying to decide. And she actually invited me along with our other leadership team, and we got to sit and talk to them and showed them our facility. After they announced that Waco was where they were coming, Chris called me and said, TSTC was the reason they picked Waco. So that's an example of us being the technical college of Texas, is we make prosperity for each region we serve.
You know, I think it's an important point. What I was really impressed by with TSTC is your speed to market, your responsiveness, how quick, when you see an opportunity to do it, we're going to get bigger, we're going to have more opportunities, and so, Mayor, I think I'm speaking for the entire board and say, don't get caught up in the red tape. You know, just do it, right? Let's get her done, and you know, get bigger faster, but don't get so big that you.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Did you? You just got permission.
We got permission. Yeah, do it because we're burning daylight, and we talked about some of the electrical power things that are going on right now, right? There's a tremendous opportunity in CapEx spend of utilities, and so we can be on the front end of that and take advantage of it. So do it. Don't get bogged down by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments.
Thank you. All right, next we'll go on to the committee reports and minute orders. We've got a ton of them, which is great. And we'll start up with the Committee for Student Learning and Student Development. And we'll call on Regent Lizzie Putnett for that report.
Good morning. Well, the Student Learning and Student Development Committee met virtually on Monday, August 25th. Jonathan and members of his team took me and Regent Rohrabacher through various agenda items around emerging market strategies under their purview. There were 2 members of the team in particular I'd like to acknowledge. Are they here today?
Let's see, we have, no.
No, they're not, right? Okay.
Yeah, so one, yeah, I'll let you.
We'll also acknowledge them, but they're not here today. But Christina Hollis, she's the provost of the online campus. She provided a presentation on one of our largest and highest revenue producing campuses. And let me tell y'all, it was mind-blowing to me. I knew we had an online campus, obviously, but I had no idea the degree of success of that online campus. We've got people from outside of the state of Texas looking at TSTC's online campus, and I had asked them for a map, and I'll pass it around so you can see kind of the distribution of where the students are coming from within Texas, and then also where they're coming from outside of Texas. And it's mind-blowing because, like, how do you sell an online product? And they could have chosen any other online program in the U.S., and they're choosing TSTC. So to me, it was amazing, very impressive. I'll pass around the map so y'all can take a look. We have a better understanding of the scope of the programs and the possibility for growth. And as we heard yesterday when we were going through the budget workshop, a lot of these students that are outside of the state are paying out-of-state tuition. So it's not only great for our brand, but it's also great, financially to be able to tap into those markets. And so also Christina wasn't the only one to share. There was also Beth Wooten, as we all know, Waco Provost and our campus host this quarter. She provided an update on another offering that is unique from traditional delivery, the work site located in the industrial park, and Chancellor was speaking about it. And I know there was a few of us there at the ribbon cutting earlier this year. Curtis, who else was there? I'm trying to remember. Ron. Yeah. And that was very exciting to see, coming from the economic development background. I really saw this as a real, true partnership to get in government, higher ed, and the private sector, because of course the industry, there's that demand from industry. And so I think it's the epitome of what true partnership looks like for prosperity, for economic development in our communities. And I really think this will be the catalyst and like the role model for a lot of, whether it's other campuses, other communities that may see it and want to kind of tap into that. But it was amazing. I think there's a lot of excitement from the community that was there at the ribbon cutting. And just to see the success, and thank you for pointing that out, I had no idea, about, I'm gonna share that with Harlan Junior DC, about, TSCC kind of being the reason, and not only that they came, but also that they started sooner than they were planning to. So all in all, very, very exciting. Christina and Beth, thank you for the opportunity to see the results that TSCC teams have realized. And additionally, Jonathan will share an update on the Harlingen campus, or he did share a brief overview of the impacts of Senate Bill 37 and a review of fall enrollment. As always, we reviewed the action items being proposed to the board today. There are 3-minute orders that are in your board books, and Jonathan will speak more about it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, so while we're busy blazing trails and getting, deeply connected with our markets and responding with things like our online campus and worksite, there's other ways that we're blazing trails that we didn't even talk about this week, and we've probably got, 50, 100 folks working on not one, but 2 different institutional accreditation efforts right now, and one is actually another area where we're pioneering. We're the first in this outcomes-based accreditor self-study, and ultimately, I think we'll be the first accredited institution under this new accreditor. So we're in that season as well, and so there's a few action items related to those accreditation efforts that I've got in front of you, and so they're a little more governance related than what we've been talking about. The first is SL 0825C, and this looks a lot like a minute order you had a few months ago. It's the same thing, except we took out 2 words, full-time. So this is a policy, and there's a set of standards and guidelines around this one that really helps create the way for how we use our faculty manpower. That you saw in our budget yesterday, what an extraordinary part of our budget that is. And so we've really done a lot of deep diving around how we go about doing that. And so this really guides that. And the primary objective around this is, how do you staff up to make sure your students are getting sufficient interaction with their faculty? They're really getting that mentorship and that guidance. And so that's what this is really about. And we thought that doesn't just apply to full-time faculty, that should just apply to all faculty. And so we brought it back this time around, because as we were going through the accreditation effort, there's a separate part-time or adjunct faculty policy. We thought these should just be the same. So that's what this does. The next minute order actually rescinds our old policy that segregated adjunct faculty, and that's SL 0925C. So this is really exciting stuff for me. I know. But we're spending so much time really helping people understand the why of how we do our business. This really does that. It helps the leaders of faculty understand, how do you approach this? And it helps faculty understand, oh, this is why they're approaching it this way. So thank you for your approval on this, if you so choose. The last minute order is on, and this is an added sheet. This relates to the discussion we had yesterday about faculty senates and faculty's role in governance. We've been evaluating this with legal counsel all the way up till now, and so this is a late addition. And so this asks for you to approve the updated policy for faculty's role in governance. So very briefly, this minute order is a revision to our policy that ensures compliance with our accreditor standards, and they specifically call out that we have to establish policy that explicitly delineates the responsibilities and authority of faculty in academic and governance matters. So it helps us comply with that, but then also this new law, Senate Bill 37. The most substantive change related to this and related to that law is around the new law does not allow the status quo for faculty senates. And our previous policy actually referred to our faculty senate in terms of how we deal with faculty's role in governance. And so we needed to eliminate that language, and this does that. And to proceed, this new law requires that the board approve the way we go about having a faculty representative group like a faculty senate. And there's specific provisions on, how they're structured and their scope and purpose. And so really appreciate the conversation we had yesterday. Our plan is to work with the General Administration Committee and really shape a new way forward. And we'll be engaging faculty in terms of getting their perspective on this, but also making sure this way forward aligns with what the board prefers. And so we're engaged with our faculty, our former faculty senate, in terms of helping them understand this change. So more to come on this as we go, but this will allow us to stay in compliance with our accreditor and stay in compliance with the new statute. So we ask your approval on this. And that concludes our action items.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions from Regents? If not, that completes our report.
Jonathan, how was it to be on stage last night? I saw you give a.
I'm a pretty sentimental guy, so I don't know how much I can go into that, but I've had a lot of high points at TSDC, but I don't know that any were better than that one. That was really cool. Congratulations. Yeah, so thank everybody for having a part in shaping my son's future. That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, whenever you believe in the product so much that your own son, and I think that's a huge testament to just, when those of us that have been in sales, if you don't believe in if you don't buy your own product or your own service, and you can't, then how do you expect others to? And so to me, that was a huge testament of, the power of TSCC and how much it means. And so it was amazing. I got teary-eyed too when I saw you and your son up there, so I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and it's fun that others you got to see so many of our family believe that they'll have their kids, take on that promise, and it's fun.
That's great.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Karen. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Lizzie. All right, now I call on Rob Misso, Chair of our Fiscal Affairs Committee.
Awesome. Thank you, Chairman Whittick. The Fiscal Affairs Committee met on Thursday, August 21st. So Kathy and I were both in the meeting with the team to discuss the minute orders and reports in front of you. The committee has 4 minute orders to consider and 5 reports in your materials, as well as the annual contract training for the board to hear. Chad Wooten will present these to the board.
All right, thank you. One update from yesterday, we had a question about the number of our students that transfer to 4-year universities. I found that out this morning. Over the last 5 years, the average is 1%.
Wow.
So,
Could I comment on that? In academic parlance, there is a notion that's referred to called terminal degree. The idea of that is there is a point in the academic sequence where you've learned everything you really need to know. That's it. And typically, in most academic disciplines, a terminal degree is a PhD or some doctorate level. From the moment I got exposed to that whole notion, and I looked at the success of some of our students, it occurred to me that those who think that what we teach is not a terminal degree aren't really thinking deeply about the benefit that our very highly curated program mix provides. It is designed from the get-go to deliver prosperity, and therefore I suggest it is a terminal degree. Apparently, the students agree. So,
All right, our first minute order is, all of our minute orders are routine, but they only happen once a year. So the first one is to approve the schedule of tuition and fees effective for the fall 2026 semester. So this is the semester that begins exactly 1 year from now. Not a lot to talk about there because there is no change in our tuition and fees. Again, we talked yesterday briefly about the statewide direction from the governor's office, so we're not recommending an increase in tuition and fees for fall of 2026. The second minute order, again, we do this every year, approve the schedule of exemptions and waivers that are non-mandatory for the fall of 2026. So these are up to the board's discretion. We don't have a long list, but you'll see there on page 10, the list has been established and we've approved over time. The most recent addition was to add salutatorians to the list, but we have 7 non-mandatory exemptions and waivers. The next one is the big one. And we spent a good amount of time yesterday talking about the FY 2026 budget. A couple of updates on that related to pay and salaries. I know we spent a little time on that. You'll see on page 12, the expenditures by fund. Our total expenditures for salaries for FY 2026 is $146 million. Last year, that number was $132 million. So we are increasing our salaries and wages expense by 10%. Obviously, some of that is for new headcount, but that is the investment we're making in salaries and wages. We saw the $387 million number yesterday. The revenue is actually $390 million. But as we discussed, we're taking $3 million out and setting it aside to build back the reserves we've spent in 25 gearing up to open the doors on Tuesday. Certainly the budget is a lot of information. I'm sure everybody went home last night and read the book again, right? Want to be sure I can answer any questions if anybody has any.
Chad, I got one. You know, we look at this endowment, and we know that hopefully we will get that. And I know that when Kevin put together a program where he forecasted maintenance on these buildings, do we forecast obsolete technology that we have to reinvest in from the different departments to say, well, this is getting old, or this is not good technology, there's something new that's come along? Do you guys forecast for that, or do you have conversations?
We're working on an initiative right now. It's actually mentioned in the budget book. We're partnering with Jonathan's team to look at every program and the equipment that they use, what the curriculum calls for, and then we're going to put a life cycle on it. Okay. And say, and it's really talking about entrepreneurship. We're looking at TSTC almost as a franchise. Like, if we want to go set a building construction program in Denton County, we have the specs for it, we know how much it costs, we know how many faculty it'll take, and we know how long this equipment's going to last. And so let's put a franchise there. We want to put a franchise of electrical construction in Harlingen. We have it in a package, so to speak, and we go set it there. Obviously, there are regional nuances, and we're not to that point yet, but that is where we are going. That is some of the sophistication in our plans that we discussed yesterday. It'll take us at least a year to get a few of those programs outlined like that, but yes, that's part of the plan. So that is the budget minute order. The last minute order is to approve the initial appropriation transfers for fiscal year 2026. This is a result of the fact that we operate as one college, but we are funded from the legislature as 7 different campuses. And so each of the campuses identified in the appropriation bill receive an appropriation. We add them all up and make a budget, but we do have to transfer from one appropriation to another, and the board is required to approve those transfers. And so you'll see the list here on page 13. It's a few $1 million, $7 million. Our total appropriations are about 150 million. So this is a small percentage of the total. It usually works itself out, but we do have to transfer a little bit to and from to get the budget to balance out by fund. Any questions on that?
Which campus does New Braunfels fall
It's in its own world right now. It actually rolls up, it's the records and the student counts are rolling up into Williamson County right now. But part of our legislative agenda next session will be to get what's called a bill pattern for that campus. That way we'll get special appropriations for New Braunfels, and then we'll have a longer list of transfers, right? So, but it rolls up into Williamson County right now.
in? Will we be developed enough for the next session to get appropriations for Denton?
We actually asked for a bill pattern for New Braunfels this session, and we had 100 students there, and they decided not to create that one. But we were pretty sure it's going to happen next session. So I don't, unless we had a lot going on in Denton really quickly, I don't personally see a bill pattern for Denton next session. But one every session for a few sessions.
I think if we were to land a piece of land, then we would have an argument for why we could, but until we actually have a plot of land, it'll be hard to argue.
Does the same arguments, or do we have the same arguments for CCAP funds in the next session?
Yeah, we can ask for CCAP funds through our system bill pattern. So that's what we've done with new campuses in the past. Williamson County, North Texas, those CCAPs were initially run through the system bill pattern. And we asked for CCAPs for Denton this last session, and that was in the system. So we have a mechanism to do it even if the bill pattern doesn't exist.
In the past, CCAPs could be requested in one form, and then with a notice to the Legislative Budget Board and other authorities, we could amend them. If CCAPs continue to be administrated that way in the future, we'll be able to move stuff around should we need to, including transferring, for example, the last CCAP project, I believe, imagined an Ellis County investment, but we deferred that to somewhere else. So we'll be able to be really adaptive should we get another round of CCAP. And that isn't going to happen every session. That'll happen on a periodic
It didn't
basis.
happen this session.
Didn't happen this session. May or may not happen next session.
Is there any expectation or concern that if the endowment passes, that could affect our level of CCAP approvals going forward?
We talked about that, but we're going to take the approach that UT and A&M take. They have the PUF, and they've gotten CCAPs every time there's a CCAP. So another group of universities has what's called the TUF. It's a Texas University Fund, which funds research, but they still get CCAP. So I don't foresee that changing. All right, on to the reports. So now we'll go back in time a little bit to fiscal year 2025, which, by the way, tomorrow is the last business day of the fiscal year. And I guess technically Monday is the college's birthday. Is that right?
More or less.
The first day of the fiscal year in 1965 or 6 was when we were written into existence. So, happy birthday. But as we end fiscal year 2025, we'll look at these reports. This is the quarterly investment report as of May 31st. Basically, this is our list of cash in the bank. You'll see the cash balance as of May 31st is at 45 million. We expect that to go down tomorrow because tomorrow's payday. But we'll talk about how we forecast our reserves in just a minute. Also of note here, we are still plowing through the bond proceeds. We spent just over $41 million in 1 quarter on construction projects and equipment. The second page looks at our CDs and then our interest rates. Still watching the Fed. We're not budgeting a lot of interest next year. Likely rates will go down, but that's a day-to-day proposition these days. And then finally, the next page is our reserves over time. You'll see on the far right that column as of May 31st, 2025, we have 30 million in reserves. We're forecasting that to go down to 25 million as we plow into growth. We budgeted 7. It looks like it's going to go down about 5. And then again, we're planning to save 3 in 2026 to start building back up. The next report on page 17 is the pledged collateral report. We are required by statute to have all of our public funds collateralized at all times, and we were sufficiently collateralized as of May 31st. The next report is the quarterly budget performance report. This is as of the 3rd quarter. You'll see, where we are year to date, but we usually end up looking at the fiscal year forecast. And so, as we've talked about, we budgeted to spend $7 million. We're looking at the forecasted difference there of 1.8 million. So, won't quite spend all 7 of those reserves. We did hit extremely close to our tuition revenue number, which was hard-earned. I'll say that, but we did hit that milestone and then saw a little bit of a dip in industry relations and grants. The grant world is a little on its head at the moment too, so. And we were able to keep a lid on expenses overall. We really watched our head count. We pulled back some discretionary funds to get that margin to where it is. Any questions on the budget for 25?
Just say great job from the team, where you can go.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of moving parts everywhere, and things can go south, and you guys kept it all together.
Yeah, I remember last year we talked about if we can get through 25 to 26, that's a big challenge for us. And the leadership team and, budget and accounting and everybody worked monthly.
Yeah, you had some stressful times there.
Yeah, and you watch those numbers every month.
Mm-hmm.
But we maintained our discipline, and I think it paid off for us.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
I got a question. Yesterday, the Maloney, is that his name?
Maroney,
not Maloney. He talked about some of anticipated expenses for the marketing leading up to Prop 1. Does that affect our budget, or that's completely separate? Okay.
yeah, it's completely separate.
You're not allowed to spend any of our marketing funds, okay?
No.
Yeah,
Most of our advertising is spent driving enrollment.
Recruiting
Honestly, yeah.
students.
So, page 20 is the quarterly lease report, and we have no leases to report this period. And finally, page 21 and 2 is the quarterly report for contracts greater than $1 million. We have one new one, which is, I would call it exciting, is the renovation in TSTC in Williamson County. Part of the CCAP project there, roughly $3 million is a renovation, and then $47 million is new construction. And so this is the construction part of the renovation, which is where we will add accelerated training for advanced manufacturing. And then as a bonus to that report, free of charge, we will provide all Regents contract training at this time. I think we have a couple of slides. As you know, you are required to approve all contracts greater than $1 million. And so just a little more to elaborate on that. The first, I think, and only slide is, well, this is the education code that dictates what we have to do. So the Board of Regents must receive this training on an annual basis. And again, as we just mentioned, the board must approve contracts with a value of more than $1 million. And then the next slide talks about the conflict of interest. I believe this is the meeting where everyone will get and complete their conflict of interest form. TSTC may not enter into contracts with a vendor if a member of the board is related to a vendor who owns or controls at least 1% of ownership in those companies. So it goes to the second degree of consanguinity: parents, children, grandparents, grandchildren, brothers and sisters. It shall be reflected in the minutes that we have received contract training for the Board of Regents in 2025.
But shouldn't we also point out on the contracts that we have to approve or designate somebody to
Or delegate the authority, yes.
Yeah.
And so that's
how we handle that.
Yeah, a lot of time, we'll see that in the minute orders for facilities, delegating the authority to approve a contract greater than $1 million to the chancellor or his designee. That concludes it.
Training ever.
All right. Maybe I should go into education, right?
That's what all our students.
All training should be like that.
No tests. We passed.
We'll send you the certificate in the mail.
Very, very good. You know, I had an investor and actually he was a mentor of mine. He was my very first investor that ever invested in something that I started. And his name was Randy Raymond, and he used to tell me, do what you say and say what you do. You know, and I think what this represents is exactly that. So it's just really, the team is doing a really, really good job. I'm so unbelievably impressed. It's an honor to talk to you guys and learn about what you guys are working on. And, I just want to say a big thank you to the financial services, the creative services, and the print shop team for their excellent design and production of this year's plan and budget books. I know a lot of work goes into that. And I can tell you, I've got a line of finance people will tell you that that's really hard, and I'm good at looking at the numbers and saying, what about this and what about that? But pulling together takes a lot of work, so great work.
Thank you, and thank you to the team. I know several of the folks are here, but it is a huge undertaking, but we do our homework
and do a good job.
Shows. So thank you very much.
Yeah, so Regents, any other questions, comments? So if not, thank you very much, Chairman. That completes our report.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. I'll now call on Pete Honey, Chair of the Facilities
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our committee met virtually last Tuesday, the 26th. Present were our committee members, Eric Beckman and Curtis Cleveland, as well as Rick and Kevin and their teams. So we had a great review of what's happening in the construction facilities and real estate update. We have 7 minute orders today and a couple of update reports. There is, I will add, there is 1 minute order that was handed out separately today, if you take that and look at that when Rick covers that. And also, he's going to use materials from this particular handout on the right-hand side, I believe they are.
Yes, sir.
So if you'll take those 2 out, he's going to be reviewing some of that with the construction and major projects update. So they continue to do a fabulous job, both Rick and his staff and Kevin and his staff, and I think you'll see that reflected in his reports and Kevin's reports today. So with that, Rick, I'll let you get started.
Yes, sir. So we have, Kevin and I both have minute orders, and I have a oral update. So I'm going to continue with my minute orders and then proceed to the report out, and then Kevin will follow and present his minute orders. The first 4 minute orders are for the CCAP projects that are about to wrap up this fall, as well as Marshall, which actually opened up in the spring. Each minute order has some photos for your reference if you want to see the pictures of the actual locations. But these minute orders are basically accepting the completion of those projects. Once these projects reach the substantial completion stage, that's the stage where we can actually move into the facility and finish out any punch-out items. At that point, we accept the project as complete. At the board level, we still have to do final completion on it, but there is no board approval on that stage of construction. Would you like for me to spend time on anyone in particular, or any questions in general?
You know, one of the things I was going to do.
Yes, sir.
Just trying to do it here quickly. What I liked was, so I won't be able to do the math, but so 5, 6, 7. Was looking at your summary and where you talk about savings part of it, right? And so every one of those had that in there, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it's 5. Let's see, there's 5, 6, 7. So I don't know what the total is. It's about $7.5, $8 million worth of savings. So that's awesome. These days, with the challenges of contracting and subcontractors and projects and project management, and to do that says a lot about the whole team.
Yes, sir. Again, the delivery method, construction method we use is construction manager at risk, is cost recovery. We establish a guaranteed maximum price, but if the cost doesn't lead up to it, then obviously that's cost recovery for us. At the forum that we had on Monday, I was talking to a lady, I think it was Parks and Wildlife Commission, that they never have any savings at the end. They net out on every single project, right? It's a testament to the team, but it's also a testament to our partners, right? You pick the right contractor, you pick the right architect, we all join this as a partnership. That's why it's at risk. Everybody has a little bit at risk to it. So I believe that's part of it too, right? Making sure that that relationship is strong, and obviously that we all adhere to contract.
And if it goes over, they have to pay for it?
It's guaranteed maximum price, so they would have to
They would
meet
eat
that
up the
price.
cost.
Yes, sir.
You know, the other important thing about that is that, having been involved in a project that went way south in Alberta and the tar sands up there, is that when you have something go south on you, it takes away from the team. You're focused, you're doing that, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing because you're working on these problems, and so it really helps just everything. So it's really great that you guys
Yes, sir.
are operating that way.
Region Punitive will expand each, so there is a contingency on the owner side, and there's a contingency on the contractor side. So if there's any oversight, that is not the contractor's issue, right? That was an oversight either in design, so that would come out of the owner contingency. And that's something that we do, is we establish a reasonable amount of contingency to make sure that we have enough funds to cover those types of surprises. And also on the contractor side, they have their own rules within our contract where they have the right to use that contingency even though they said this is the cost, but if something came up, for example, in Marshall, we found a gas line, right? So now we got to deal with that, right? That wasn't part of the contract. The contractor didn't have funds established to cover that surprise, so that came out of that contingency to cover that type of situation.
I have a comment if I could.
Yes,
share.
sir.
On page 27, there's a couple pictures. This is the Abilene, I'm pretty sure. Yes. So that top picture, you see that there's some framed walls over on the right-hand side, and then there's some steel framed walls back behind it. And then you'll see there's this strange object in the middle with a perimeter barrier and lighting over it and all of that. When I toured this facility, I had it explained to me. Think about, if you've ever been involved in new construction, right after the dirt work is done and the forms have been put down for the foundation, the next guys who show up are the plumbers. And what they are doing is laying the wastewater pipes for that structure. Well, in all of our plumbing situations, that training goes on outside. This will be a dirt pit that will allow the students in training to take a set of plans and lay out the wastewater pipes in real dirt inside the building that will enable them to practice in that sort of thing. And that was wholly intriguing to me, that we would have a situation in which we could teach students indoors and therefore 24/7 on that, in such a manner. That's an indication of a plumbing program that really knows what they need, and then a construction team that is responsive to what the instruction folks need in order to teach well. So I wanted to point that out.
So will we have that in Waco, this layout?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. A little bit larger scale, but yes.
Yeah, bigger scale. Mm-hmm. And the other is, if you look at that picture on the bottom, if you've ever been in a first-class manufacturing facility or anything like that, you'll recognize this space. This is what industrial space looks like, and this is the sort of place we teach people. Because once again, we want the kids to experience what it's going to be like when they go to work. So,
And you've got that single point of contact ladder in the drawing. Must be new.
I think that ladder was being set up right as the photographer snapped the picture. I don't want to acknowledge it could have been going the other way. So that's just something I wanted, a little nuance I wanted to point out.
You know, I'll expand on what the Chancellor made reference to. He made reference to that larger open area. In the center of that open area, it's hard to see, but those little objects in the center are tiny houses, right? Those are a scale model of a home. And as I mentioned yesterday, part of that we can claim success in our CCAP is because of all the support that we've had. The sand pit and whatnot that the Chancellor talked about, that's one from the stakeholder input from Jonathan's team. This is what we need, right? So we make sure we incorporate that in design. But that other open area, those tiny houses are actually built by Kevin's team. Right?
Same guys that built
this here. Right, so, and that actually started a few years ago when we were doing the plumbing testing lab, and the plumbing board didn't have a vendor anymore. But the physical plan team came and reviewed them, studied them, and said, oh, we can do this. Right, so they created their own templates, their own jigs and whatnot to be able to do that. And because they were ready to do that for the plumbing board, they've been doing it as we launched new programs. So kudos to those folks that do that in addition to their daily tasks. We have one more minute order that, as Regent Honey mentioned, it's an addition. This minute order is a minute order for a CDL facility at the Waco campus. As mentioned earlier, we did have some savings generated for some of these projects, and this is actually repurposing of those savings for this particular project. This project is a $2.3 million project. Right now, we are in the discovery phase of whether we're going to renovate, whether we're going to build new as far as the structure, but at the end of the day, we'll obviously have a large concrete pad for those CDL students to practice on. Any questions with the new minute order launching a new project?
I know,
Yes, sir.
I think I read where the state has asked us to take a look at developing a statewide CDL program. I guess that's going to be some kind of an exploratory study that's going to be underway by us or by a consultant.
We were asked that for the first time 2 sessions ago, and Cledia's team built a statewide response. This is what it would look like. And the person who asked us was the chairman of the Transportation Committee over on the House side. So Cledia built the plan, and the GR team presented it to the legislature, and it didn't take. We scaled it down some and repeated it again at the request of the Texas Truckers Association, who has supported the bill both times, and but it didn't make in either session.
Okay.
I honestly don't think that's something we'll be able to carry on our own. I think the Texas truckers, their persuasion will be the key to that actually happening. In the meantime, the need continues to be extraordinary. So as we get opportunities, we'll chip off little pieces of that plan. And what Cledia is doing here in Waco is an example of chipping off a little piece of it and getting it started.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
And a statewide, is this still would have to be in the county or approved to be operating?
That's right. That's right. And it's way more money than you think it is, because we need a great big reinforced slab. We need a building for the classroom part of the training. And of course, we need all the big rigs.
Takes a lot of real estate.
Yes, it is. And so Waco got it because the need is so great in this region, but also number 2, we have the land to put it on. So that's why Waco is the one we're chipping off this first chunk of it. What we're hoping is that if we can get this built, that by the time the next session rolls around, Texas Truckers is going to be able to show up with all the pictures and the charts and the graphs and all this success and say, see, here's an example of what we're talking about. Now we need this in Cameron County, and we need it in all the various other places. And we hope that'll happen.
As part of the oral construction update, it's, as Regent Honey mentioned, this is found in your pamphlet on the right-hand side. It's the monthly update. This monthly update is available inside our portal for all employees have access to it. Pretty straightforward. I think next update there'll be quite a few less pages on here, which is a great thing. I'll give you an opportunity to review those, and if you have any questions, I'll gladly entertain that.
So whoever does this is outstanding.
Yes, sir. Actually, Michael Schumacher actually created the template in PowerPoint, and the project managers populate it every month. They do a monthly update.
You know, one of the things that I talk about I-35, one of the things that I enjoy is the billboards that we have the TSCC billboards. You know, it creates a great message. It's great for marketing and all that. But there's no better billboard than that Construction Technology Center that is the biggest billboard on I-35, right?
Yeah,
that is a very
a
impressive building.
Yeah.
Each day it gets better, right?
Yeah.
And you drive by there and you go, wow, look at that. It's awesome.
It's an impressive,
great
impressive
location,
facility.
great branding.
And again, it's all stakeholder input, right? Local provost and leadership team, they all had a say. I know Chad had a little wish list out there. He wanted to have a building that was a billboard, right? And I think we met his goal. I hope so.
We did. We're visible.
And it's actually the height, the top of that building is higher than your billboards on the interstate.
I'll tell you what, now you light up the water tower behind it,
There you go.
rolling.
If you have any questions on any of the projects, I'd be glad to answer them. Pretty straightforward updates that you all get every quarter. No questions?
Everything's basically on schedule and on budget or below budget, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. So far, we've been fortunate again with our partners are great to work with. Whenever we run into challenges, obviously we all pull together to solve them in the best interest of the project.
Great job.
The last report is our facility project status update. This is more of a financial report. It used to be, this took the place of the facilities project report, and this converted into our expenditures. So this is more of a summary on our financial status. Everything is on budget. Actually, most things are under budget, and that's a great thing. Any questions with the fine print report that you have in front of you?
Anything keeping you up at night right now?
You know, I was talking to Chancellor earlier about that, but it has nothing to do with the projects. It's that sleep apnea CPAP machine that drives me crazy. Oh my God, it's horrible. But it does keep me up at night.
We'll get a good bourbon, and that'll
Thank you
help.
for asking. Hey, love the way you think.
Thanks, Rick. Okay, Kevin.
All right. Good morning. I have 2-minute orders, and both of those are for the airport. The first minute order is to replace the roof on hangar 11-1. That hangar is currently being leased by L3 Harris. It is the largest hangar that we own at the airport, about 126,000 square feet. And the estimated cost for that project is about $1.5 million. So any thoughts, questions on that particular project?
About how old is that hangar?
That hangar was part of the original airport. Yeah.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
50 years,
Yeah.
50 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the 50s, no, 50s.
Oh, it's time.
Yes. And they had a replacement, I think, before, but
Okay.
we've seen some issues, and now it's time to do it again.
Kevin, how many square feet of roofs do we have on there? Roughly.
So that one, so the other hangars are smaller, right? They're on average about 26,000 square feet. So
But there's also the ones across over on the south side.
Well, those are L3s.
So they're responsible for the roof on those?
Yeah,
Okay.
they take care of those. They own those particular ones.
So we got 250,000 square feet?
At least.
And to give you an idea of the size of this thing, that's a C5 sitting there. The tail of that airplane is 6 stories off the ground. That's how big this aircraft is.
Does the plan have placing the TSTC logo in that roof?
We need to, yes. We do have some designs, if you guys may have seen it, maybe the last time we were at the aerospace building, but we are painting all our hangars the same colors to match, right? So if we get approval from the board, maybe we will put the design right. All right, the next minute order is for approval to lease out, or at least to negotiate a lease for an additional 1.1 million square feet of ramp space with L3 Harris. So, Regent Honey, you kind of asked me that question when we met. Even at our lowest rates that we would negotiate, we're looking about $170,000 annually. And then this agreement has about a 7-year agreement, right? So that would put us about 1.2 million. So that's the reason for the approval today. But we're still negotiating that with L3 Harris, and where we end up, it'll be in our favor, obviously. Any thoughts, questions?
When you do that, how are you determining the lease rates? Do you have market comps with real estate folks in the aircraft
We have a
space?
company that we partnered with about 4 years ago as we were looking at a lot of our leases. And this is an outside company, right? And they come in and they do, every 3 years, we've been getting updated comps for airports in comparison to ours. So we should have a new report coming out probably at the end of this year, 25 rolling into 26. But our numbers are very competitive. As the chancellor probably knows, and Chad, when we negotiate with L3 or any other vendor, you know, it's a tough sale at times, right? Everybody wants something for nothing. But when you talk about spending 1.5 million on a roof, you need to have some funds to be able to do that. So, and that's one of the things the industry has said, right? A lot of airports are not charging at the right rates. So we're trying to push that narrative as much as we can as well.
Very good.
So that's my 2-minute orders.
Any questions, anything else for Kevin?
Nothing else, right?
Let me say, you know, just driving in and around the campus for this meeting, I'm very impressed by the upkeep of the campus and the way it looks, and the activity I see of maintaining it is, I mean, it's head and shoulders above where it has been in the past. So thank you and your team.
The team done an awesome job.
Yeah.
Let me say, I'll say this one. So yesterday we were talking about this, and our facility director here on the campus, the word was, as you guys remember the last time we were here, we had a fire alarm. So, and the reason for that one the last time was a vendor was doing work, changing filters. So dust hit a smoke detector and went off. So he said, and I told him, no vendor's working. So Elvira put you on the spot. When her alarm went off over here, I was like, what the heck? Because he promised me we weren't going to have any alarms today, right? So anyway, false alarm out this time.
It never would have gone off if Maddie hadn't tried to steal her purse.
Really?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that. All right, next I'd like to call on Tiffany Tremont on behalf of Chair Kathy Stewart for the General Administration Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The General Administration Working Group met virtually on Monday, August 25th. The Vice Chancellors shared divisional updates and plans for the next fiscal year. And as we all know, TSTC is and has been in a season of growth. The divisions in the General Administration Committee are just as passionate about this as with the growth. From upgrading our IT infrastructure and security posture to enrollment growth off the charts and enhancing our marketing, external relations, surpassing goals and expanding partnerships, government relations upholding and exceeding the college's brand in the Capitol, and human resources supporting our employees. Thank you, Pamela. With an enhanced focus on experience as well as maturing our processes. Needless to say, these folks are busy and loving every minute. We have 6-minute orders today to present to the board, so I will first ask Dale Bundy to present 2-minute orders.
Thanks. Good afternoon now. Yeah, I have 2-minute orders for consideration. The first one's on page 51, and it's to approve the Enrollment for Education Solutions Agreement with Microsoft Corporation. This agreement serves as the licensing for all of our software and services from Microsoft for the entire college. That includes things like Windows and the Office suite and various other things. This agreement was initially signed in 2021. This will be the 6th year of the agreement, and with this renewal, we'll exceed the $1 million value of the contract and require board approval. Questions on that one? Okay. The second one And Regent Bacher, I think this probably answers your question from earlier. We are looking at obsolete or outdated technology. So this one is on page 52 to approve the hybrid cloud infrastructure modernization project. So our current virtualization solution that we have, and it's all the servers that run most of our applications and systems throughout the college, are nearing end of life, and it needs a refresh. And the IT leadership team proposes a new hybrid cloud implementation that is built on Dell hardware and Nutanix software. This new solution aligns with our roadmap to move more into the cloud over the next few years, especially those systems that do support cloud deployment. It also aligns with our new backup and recovery strategy, so it's going to provide more flexibility and capabilities in the event of a cyber incident or a disaster. This will be a 5-year agreement, and it will exceed $1 million in value as well, and requires board approval.
What is a hybrid cloud? Is that gasoline and electric? Or
Sort of. No, it allows you to do things in a physical data center locally, and then also have part of that footprint in the cloud as well. And then you can actually start moving things as we need to and transition those to the cloud. It also lets us recover something that's in the data center, depending on where the outage was and what the system was. Instead of having to recover it physically at a data center, we could restore it in the cloud temporarily. Other questions?
You know, he was very kind to you with that answer. It could have been way more complex.
He was way over my head anyways.
Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. I now ask Michael Bettersworth to present 1-minute order.
Good afternoon. This minute order relates to our inbound, outbound call services provided by a vendor, Ed-America. The reason for this service is during particularly our fall enrollment cycle right now, the volume of inbound calls exceeds our full-time employees' staff. So in order to not have wait times, we have an external service. But I'm pleased to report that the need for this service has declined dramatically thanks to some introductions of some AI, artificial intelligence tools, both on our website, which is an AI-powered chat infrastructure, and a ChatGPT-like Ask Anything service that's deployed on our website as well. We've saved, Ryan, I think it's 9,000 minutes in the last 3 months using that new AI infrastructure. So our cost for this service, this will likely be the last time that we'll have a minute order on this service. That concludes my remarks.
Wow. That's a record.
I'll see you in November, though.
Are there any questions? Thank you, Michael.
Well done.
Ed will present the next 2-minute orders.
I've got 2. I think it's fair to say they are the most important that you'll hear today. I say that without any jest at all. The first one is GA 05-25C. Without your passage of this one, we will be able to spend no money September the 1st. So what this is our DEI compliance that started last year. This will be the second year that we certify that we are in compliance. I have all the documentation uploaded. It sits on my computer right now waiting for the passage for me to press the button submit, at which time we'll be free to spend money next fiscal year. Just so you'll know, we've never had a DA office. We don't contract anybody to do those services, and we've never had any policies in contradiction to 513525. We've been fully compliant before the passages of that law and continue to be. The next one is GA. You want to add?
I've been here 26 years. This is the first minute order that I've ever had the commissioner of higher ed call me and ask me, are you guys going to do this? I actually got a phone call last night from the commissioner who said he was working through his list of institutions who haven't done their certification yet. And I had to explain to him, well, we don't even have our board meeting till tomorrow. And so he said, okay, good, just checking, just making sure you were okay. First time in history that had ever happened to me, yeah.
So I was told that story and I was scared, and so I think we'll move this certification request and then delegation to the May meeting next year, so that we don't get to August and we'll just be able to submit it immediately at that point. Okay, the next one is GA 0625C.
But wait, let me make sure I do clearly. It was a very cordial call. He was actually providing a level of service to the institutions the commissioner's never done before. I mean, it was with the best of intent that he was reaching out to make sure institutions didn't inadvertently slip past the deadline, yeah.
And I'll add one
yeah.
thing then, and then you can add one more. I'll add that I have had conversations with the co-board in reference to the DEI question, and they were interesting because I didn't get very much out before they said, I know you never had it, I know, you don't need to tell me. So they're aware that we never have and don't have now a DEI office, and that the purpose of that law was not targeted at us, so. All right, the last one I have is GA 0625C. There's been some reorganization. I can't see Pamela right now, kind of headed up by Pamela and others, other of the VCs on the operating standards. And in doing that, we noticed that we had a couple of places that dealt with free speech. There's been a lot of changes in the law with free speech in the last couple of sessions. And so what we've done is we've decided to have a singular SOS that deals with free speech campus-wide with employees and with students. And so with your passage of this particular minute order, what will happen then is I will then do a free speech SOS dealing with the entire campus. That's all that particular minute order is asking you to do. It has the policy listed in there. I'm sure you read it. It's well written. I did it. And I think you'll find it to your liking. So that's what those 2 minute orders are. I have nothing else. Do you have any questions?
What is the need for that one? Before people.
The second one?
The second one, yeah, before people want to,
There is, do we have to have it? No. I think what it would do is it would help us to better organize our SOSs. We have free speech addressed, freedom of association, all of the different First Amendment type issues. We have them addressed in various parts of our SOSs. This would consolidate it into a single SOS. It would be easy to find if you want to know what is your free speech policy. We now would have a policy that is just for free speech.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if somebody noticed it, Maddie may have been the one who noticed it, I can't recall. It was in lots of different places. Why don't we have it in one?
So we already had it, you're just kind of specifying it?
We are going to put it in one policy,
Okay.
not 5 or 6
So
or however many it's in now.
It's easy to find.
Exactly.
Okay.
No one will have to ask, you go straight there.
Okay.
Ed,
Thanks for noticing.
Is there a reason why the last sentence is underlined in the SB 2972? You said notice that before in a minute order.
Where it says background?
No, well, just on my copy, the last sentence under background and.
Yes. I have a habit, and it's for me. I link everything, and so sometimes when I link, it underlines.
Oh, so that's a hyperlink?
Yeah, it's a hyperlink in the digital, which I think probably is still there.
Okay.
I link it just so if somebody says, how do you know that? I click it and there's a law.
Okay, I didn't know if there's some significance to that or.
I hyperlink everything. It's maybe a bad habit. He's talking about this.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes sometimes it stays there a lot. Any other questions? All right. Thank you. And I literally have it up on my computer as soon as the agendas or the minute orders are approved, I will press submit on 3545.
The last minute order will be presented by Claudia Hernandez.
Good afternoon. We are seeking approval for proposed minute order GA 0725C. As we've been discussing, one of the things that we're really focusing on is how can we continue to be nimble, responsive, and continue to grow, especially in certain areas where we might not have physical locations just yet. And so this minute order has what we're calling a mobile transformer. You'll see it on page 59. It gives us an opportunity to meet people where they're at, let it be our students, let it be industry partners or the community. And so it'll give us the opportunity to be responsive to being able to provide training across the state in our different locations. Questions?
Do any of these exist right now, or is this a prototype kind of thing?
I don't believe anybody is currently using them to this level of scope of what we're trying to propose. This is fully functional and self-sustained. It has actually lab space for up to 8 students and a classroom for 12 students.
And who
Hence the
builds these
transformers.
things?
I'm sorry?
Are we going to build it? Or
No, we would be purchasing.
Okay, and there are people that do?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this, like one per campus, or how many are we thinking?
Maybe one day.
I was gonna say, if you get a lot more, we can definitely purchase more. This is for the purchase of one.
Okay, and so then it would, wherever it's needed, you replace it, but
Correct.
eventually we might be able to.
Right now, just one, Chad, right? Okay, maybe next time two. And it's also, it's a great way for us to be able to pilot this, right? And be able to see, and as we see the demand and the growth, it gives us the flexibility. A lot of our equipment is also plug and play. So as the training needs shift, we can definitely be able to repurpose the same space and then roll it over into the next community where they're needing some training.
Was there, I guess, how was this, how was the birth of this? Was there an industry partner that mentioned it, or students, or how did this?
So we have a similar concept. In fact, in the Port of Brownsville, we actually have a mobile training for welding. Okay. And so we are able to do training on site wherever we're at with one of these types of mobile trailers. However, this, of course, has the latest technology in it and has been able to really be revamped to be able to meet the needs for industry nowadays.
This is great. It's also good for branding.
Yeah, I'll give you, there are multiple uses for this. One is acute training at an employer. You roll up, do some fast training on a new technology that they need their incumbent workforce. Here's the second one. We take it to job fairs or career fairs, or we take it to a high school and park it out there and, you know, get the kids immersed in some of these cool technologies. And in that case, it's a recruiting tool. Another is we could take it up to Denton County and actually begin to deliver some training to the various employers to prime the pump and get some interest going here. Those are just 3 examples of ways in which we could use eye candy like this that delivers real training as an opportunity to make things bigger.
Yeah, I love the multi-purpose. When we were in Austin, that semi-truck that had, you know, to promote the CDL training, it catches your eye. It's, you know, like you said, eye candy. It's great.
For reference, the one that we have in Port Isabel or Port of Brownsville, it's working year-round. They've been requesting for it to be utilized in our new Braunfels location, and there's just no time in the schedule for us to be able to, so we want to be able to continue to add to our inventory so that way we can be able to continue to move it.
So the State Comptroller's Office, or GAP, probably has standard language. I don't know if this applies, but super cool.
Thank you.
Good. Very technical.
Although it's going to be tough when you flip it on its wheels for the bridges. That's going to be really tall. But
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
Then it's a climb tower.
You have time for a comment? All right. I wanted to send a big thank you to our general administration team for the incredible effort reflected in this week's board meeting, from securing major agreements with Microsoft Education Solutions and cloud modernization, to driving enrollment growth, surpassing tuition goals, and expanding training opportunities. Your work is laying a powerful foundation for the state of Texas. Your progress in HR engagement, scholarship impacts, and innovation programs shows how dedication and teamwork are strengthening our students, staff, and community. Thank you for all your hard work and vision. You are the backbone of our success. If the board has no follow-up questions or comments, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Tremont, appreciate it. All right, so this concludes the committee section of the agenda. We'll recess the open meeting of the TSTC Board of Regents after proper posting and for the specific purposes provided in the Texas Open Meeting Act, including those in subchapter D, which will recess, and the closed meeting will begin shortly. So the Regents will move to the Crockett room. We're still doing it, the Crockett room over here. And then we'll reconvene, when the closed meeting is adjourned, then we will reconvene the open meeting. Current time right now is 12:43 p.m. So the public may please retire now. We'll take, we go in here, oh, I'm sorry. If y'all are good, we're gonna go in there. We'll take 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Be sure to bring this folder,
Okay.
Because on the left-hand side, there are some items that we need to discuss.
Very good. And so we'll meet in there in about 5 minutes. Sound good? start here in just a couple minutes. We'll wait on Mr. Musso to get here. All right, the open meeting of the TSTC Board of Regents reconvenes at 2:08 p.m. We'll now consider the consent agenda. At this time, any regent can request that an item or items be removed from the consent agenda so that it can be considered by the board as a separate action item. Regents, are there any such amendments to the consent agenda? And just as a reminder, we did add the three into the book that's part of this SL 1025C, FAC 0925C, and GA 0725C. I will entertain a motion to approve all the items contained in the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Tiffany. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Very good, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Keith, did you have something?
Yes, coming out of closed session, Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose approval of minute order CS 06-25. This minute order authorizes granting of an approximate 0.67 acre permanent Old Fort Worth Road right-of-way and an approximate 0.172 acre drainage easement located on real property owned by TSTC in or near Midlothian, Ellis County, Texas, and authorizes the chancellor or his designee to negotiate the right-of-way and easement and to enter into and execute all necessary documents to complete said right-of-way and easement.
So moved. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you, Curtis. Any questions, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Thank you, Keith. All right, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? New business. Is there any new business? Nope. Is there any further discussion on items covered during the closed session today? That would have been what you would have done. We got it. So got ahead of it.
Yeah.
All right. Chancellor, do you have any closing comments?
Only to thank you very much for attending commencement last night, and congratulations to you on your award.
What a great speech.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
And to thank the events team who just worked like crazy to host a nice board meeting for you, and then all of the personnel who developed the material that went into your packages. So and with that, I conclude my remarks.
Thank you, Chancellor. Yeah, I have to say, turning the corner around on Bosco, whatever, boy, this is like Burning Man getting into this place. It was packed. Quite the deal. Well, all right, hearing no, Regents, anybody got anything?
I just want to echo congratulations on your well-deserved award, and your speech was on point. I think it was very relatable to the students and very inspiring, because you went down memory lane and you said, you know, you were going to college, you weren't sure what you were going to do, and I think there were students that are either trying to get a job, maybe they already have a job lined up, but you gave them a sneak preview of what could be, and so maybe they're just thinking like, I'm getting a job somewhere, but they don't see the potential that they could be CEO, and I think you gave them that inspiration, and so I just thought your speech was great, and
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you. It may not be the perfect plan, but it's a plan, so just do it. Yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. Well, all right. So the next Board of Regents meeting is scheduled for November 13th. We just talked about that Thursday. We'll probably have something Wednesday, Thursday, the 12th and the 13th. So if you mark your calendars for that at the Marshall campus, we'll look forward to going out there. And so we'll see you there. And other than that, we are adjourned. 12 o'clock.